All right, so let's jump right into today's deep dive. We're going to be breaking down the top news stories impacting your world. It's Monday, January 27th, 2025, and the markets are kind of reeling from some major developments coming out of China. We've got articles here from sources like MarketWatch, CNBCinvesting.com, and they're all buzzing about this new AI model called DeepSeek. It's making some serious waves.
Yeah, what's really got everyone's attention is this new player, DeepSeek. They kind of seemingly came out of nowhere, and they launched this free open source large language model late December 2024. It's being compared to OpenAI's o1.
Yeah, that's right. And CNBC is reporting that it was developed in just 2 months with a budget under $6 million. That's a fraction of the time and resources typically invested in these kinds of projects.
It's pretty unprecedented, and the markets are reacting accordingly. We're seeing a global tech sell-off. The Nasdaq is down more than 3%, and the S&P 500 is also sliding.
Wow, those are some significant drops. Can you unpack why investors are reacting so strongly?
Basically, DeepSeek is offering the same powerful capabilities as some of the biggest names in AI, but for free. This has investors worried about the potential for disruption in the market and what it means for the profitability of companies like Nvidia, a major player in AI chips. CNBC reports their stock plummeted by 16%.
16%, that's a massive hit. Some analysts are even suggesting this could be a sign of an AI stock bubble bursting. Is that a real possibility?
It's definitely something to watch closely. This situation highlights a larger trend: China's growing dominance in the AI field. CNBC points out that U.S. efforts to restrict China's access to advanced chips might have inadvertently fueled this innovation. It's a classic case of unintended consequences.
Yeah, it seems like trying to hold back technological advancement is like trying to stop a tidal wave.
Exactly. And this brings us to another crucial point: the environmental impact of AI. These large language models require massive amounts of energy to run. However, there is a silver lining. CNBC mentioned that DeepSeek's model is incredibly efficient, potentially requiring significantly less energy than its counterparts.
So while this news is sending shockwaves through the market, it could also be a catalyst for more sustainable AI development.
Absolutely. DeepSeek's efficiency could be a game changer for the industry. It raises the question of whether other companies will be able to achieve similar levels of performance with such minimal energy consumption.
This news is certainly prompting a lot of questions about the future of AI and its global implications.
It's kind of a turning point. We need to ask ourselves, how will DeepSeek's open source model impact innovation? Will it democratize access to AI technology and lead to a surge in new, more affordable AI applications?
Those are some big questions, and I'm sure our listeners are wondering what this means for them. What advice are analysts offering in light of this market turmoil?
Well, amidst the panic, some analysts see opportunity. CNBC reports that companies like Amazon and Broadcom are being highlighted as potential buys once the dust settles. Stephanie Link from Hightower, quoted in CNBC, suggests waiting for things to stabilize before making any major moves.
So a cautious approach seems to be the prevailing wisdom. This is certainly a complex situation with a lot of moving parts.
You're right. And there's another factor to consider: President Trump's return to the White House. MarketWatch reports that he's back and expected to make some significant policy changes.
That adds another layer of uncertainty to an already volatile situation. And as if things weren't complicated enough, the Federal Reserve is meeting this week. MarketWatch highlights their key goal: navigating the economic landscape without becoming a target of President Trump's criticism.
The Fed certainly has its work cut out for it. This week is shaping up to be a critical one for the markets.
It sounds like we're in for quite a ride.
Indeed.
All right, so we've covered the groundbreaking news of DeepSeek's arrival and its impact on the markets, but there's more to unpack. Let's move on to some other market movers that are making headlines today.
Let's do it. We were talking about President Trump, his return to the White House. And it's worth noting that his presence kind of adds this layer of unpredictability to the markets. MarketWatch points out that he's known for his outspoken views on, economic matters, and his policies could have a significant impact on, how things play out.
That's right, and it's especially interesting given the current situation with the Federal Reserve. They're meeting this week, and according to MarketWatch, they're aiming to navigate the economic landscape without drawing Trump's ire.
It's a delicate balancing act. On one hand, they need to address the potential fallout from DeepSeek's disruption and the overall market volatility. But on the other, they have to be mindful of how their actions might be perceived by the White House.
Yeah, sounds like they're walking a tightrope. But let's shift gears for a moment and look at some specific companies that are making headlines today. MarketWatch reports that AT&T's stock is actually bucking the trend. leading the S&P 500 gainers.
Yeah, that's a surprising bright spot in an otherwise gloomy day for the market. Their success seems to be driven by strong subscriber growth, which suggests that even amidst the tech shakeup, some companies are finding ways to thrive.
That's encouraging news for investors. However, not all sectors are faring as well. MarketWatch reports that the home building sector is facing a challenging outlook, with analysts downgrading companies like D.R. Horton Poult and Smith Douglas.
Yeah, the housing market is often seen as a barometer of the overall economy, so this could be a sign that things are cooling down. It'll be interesting to see how this sector performs in the coming months.
Another company that's caught our attention is SoFi. Despite strong revenue, their stock is taking a dip.
MarketWatch attributes this to concerns about their profitability outlook. It seems that even in a strong market, investors are looking for companies that can demonstrate a clear path to sustainable profits.
But while revenue growth is important, it's not the only factor driving investor confidence.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the bigger picture. DeepSeek's emergence is a game changer. It's not just about market fluctuations, it's about a fundamental shift in the technological landscape.
It's like a ripple effect. DeepSeek has thrown a stone into the pond, and we're now seeing those ripples spread across the entire market and even beyond.
Precisely. We're witnessing the birth of a new era in AI, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all unfolds.
It certainly raises a lot of questions. How will this impact innovation, accessibility to technology, and even the global balance of power?
These are questions we'll continue to explore in future deep dives.
Absolutely. This is a story that's still being written, and we'll be here to help our listeners make sense of it all. But before we wrap up today's deep dive, let's take a closer look at DeepSeek's open source model and what it could mean for the future of AI.
That's a great place to focus our attention. Open source is a powerful concept, and it has the potential to democratize access to cutting-edge technology like never before.
Can you explain what open source means for those who might not be familiar with the term?
Imagine you have a recipe for a delicious cake. Traditionally, you might keep that recipe a secret, only sharing it with a select few. But if you made it open source, you would be sharing the recipe with the entire world.
So in this case, DeepSeek is essentially sharing the recipe for their AI model with everyone.
Exactly. That means anyone can use, modify, or build upon their technology. It's a radical departure from the traditional approach to AI development, which has often been shrouded in secrecy and exclusivity.
This sounds like it could be a major turning point for the industry. What are some of the potential benefits of this open source approach?
One of the most significant benefits is the potential for accelerated innovation. By making their technology freely available, DeepSeek is essentially inviting the global community to collaborate and contribute to its development.
So instead of a handful of companies controlling the direction of AI, we could see a much broader range of perspectives and ideas coming into play.
Exactly. It's like crowdsourcing innovation on a massive scale.
That's exciting. But are there any potential drawbacks or risks associated with this approach?
Of course, with any major technological advancement, there are always potential downsides to consider. One concern is the possibility of malicious actors using this technology for harmful purposes.
That's a valid concern. Are there any safeguards in place to mitigate these risks?
The open source community is generally very vigilant about identifying and addressing potential vulnerabilities. And because the code is open for anyone to inspect, it's easier to spot and fix problems quickly.
So the transparency of the open source model could actually make it more secure in the long run.
That's the hope. It's a trade-off, but one that many believe is worth taking.
This news about DeepSeek's open source model really highlights the importance of staying informed and adapting to a rapidly changing world.
Absolutely. We're living in an era of unprecedented technological advancement, and it's essential to keep learning and evolving to stay ahead of the curve.
It's a challenge, but also an incredibly exciting time to be alive. We're witnessing the birth of a new era, and the possibilities are endless.
I couldn't agree more. And who knows what groundbreaking discoveries await us just around the corner.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that just a few weeks ago, most people had never even heard of DeepSeek. And now they're this major force in the tech world. And their open source model has the potential to, change everything.
It really is a testament to how quickly the landscape can shift in, the world of technology. What seemed like an unbreakable status quo can be disrupted in the blink of an eye.
It makes you wonder, what other groundbreaking innovations are just waiting to be discovered.
Right, that's the beauty of it. There's this sense of endless possibility, a feeling that we're on the cusp of something truly transformative.
And for those of us who aren't tech experts, It can be a bit overwhelming to keep up with all these rapid-fire changes.
I totally understand that feeling. But that's why, we're here to break it all down, to help you understand the key takeaways and what they mean for you.
Exactly. We want to empower our listeners with the knowledge they need to navigate this complex and ever-changing world.
Knowledge is power, especially in today's information-driven society. The more you understand about these emerging technologies, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions about your life, your career, and your investments.
Well said. And with that in mind, let's zoom out for a moment and consider the broader implications of DeepSeek's arrival. We've talked about the market impacts and the potential for innovation. But what about the geopolitical ramifications?
That's a crucial point. DeepSeek's success highlights the shifting balance of power in the global tech landscape. For years, the U.S. has been the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence, but China is rapidly closing the gap.
And as we discussed earlier, some experts believe that U.S. efforts to restrict China's access to advanced technology may have actually backfired, fueling their determination to innovate independently.
It's a classic case of unintended consequences. By trying to maintain their technological advantage, the U.S. may have inadvertently accelerated the rise of a powerful competitor.
It's a reminder that in today's interconnected world, it's impossible to isolate yourself from global trends.
Exactly. We're all part of a complex and dynamic system, and events in one part of the world can have ripple effects across the globe.
And that brings us back to the importance of staying informed and engaged. We need to pay attention to what's happening not just in our own backyards, but around the world.
I couldn't agree more. The world is changing at an unprecedented pace, and the only way to keep up is to stay curious, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
And that's exactly what we aim to do here in the Deep Dive.
We're committed to providing you with the insights and analysis you need to make sense of the complex world we live in.
So whether you're a tech enthusiast, an investor, or simply a curious citizen, we invite you to join us on this journey of discovery.
There's much more to explore, and we'll be here to guide you every step of the way.
Thanks for joining us for today's Deep Dive. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and stay ahead of the curve.